Shariata, and bought.
God bless you.
Yeah, right. Um,
What the heck is
bought
that?
me. It's the local Mexican cuisine store here in town, and I bought me and my wife and my son a burrito loco, and they're 2 pound burritos with all the
Nice.
mixings and stuff. But hell, it was like $60 freaking.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, prices of food nowadays because of the 40% increase. So a 40% increase in wages means a 40% increase in how much stuff costs.
Not necessarily.
No, no,
But you get
not
what I'm
whenever you have
saying.
necessarily.
somebody writing check. Never mind, Chuck. Not this show.
I'm just saying. I'm just
Like you
saying.
go to
God
McDonald's,
bless you, Lawrence. What are you doing to me,
you
man?
go to McDonald's and their McChickens went from $1 to $1.50. That's a 50% increase right there. Bam.
Yeah.
I mean, you go look at restaurants, man. All their food is jacked, like jacked up prices, anywhere between 30 and 50% increase. Just about anywhere you go, it's ridiculous now.
Huh.
Make it impossible to go to a Colts game. Daggone them.
Right? Because now a hot dog at the Colts is like half the price of a ticket. It's probably like $50 or something.
Well, I hope they got things straightened out with their concessions from when we went there during preseason, because I mean it was every bit of an hour and 15 minutes for a sandwich and a drink.
See, I
Wait, I
never
mean,
waited that long.
neither did I. But you know what? I didn't take my wife. I took my son. My nephew, he took his wife. He waited that long. He's a gentleman. I was not.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem. The only thing I didn't like was the fact that the hamburger wasn't hamburger. Excuse me.
Bless you.
That time the bless you was actually real.
There you go.
But soy burgers, is what we had at the concessions at last time. Here comes
Oh,
another.
at the training camp?
Damn.
Oh, yeah. No wonder you're.
Nah, you're just looking for attention.
Now the hot dogs were good. The hot dogs were like gigantic beef hot dogs. They were really really good, but the freaking the cheeseburgers were disgusting and not worth the $9 that they cost.
I can't eat that crap. I can't.
Right.
No.
And then of course soy burgers, they burn easily, so they're like crunchy. You get what I'm saying? They're just nasty. It's like eating a literally, to me, it's like eating one of them cork saucer things you put under a cup. You know what I'm saying?
Coaster?
Yeah, a cork coaster. I mean, that's the best way of putting it, right? And it's disgusting.
A rice cake.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I seen what they looked like coming in and after they didn't sell for a few weeks at a restaurant and stuff, I just realized that now I like things that have 4 legs and go move.
Right? Well, I mean, it's not good when it goes out looking the exact same way it went in. I mean, but anyhow,
Aren't these rice cakes good, honey? It tastes like fucking styrofoam.
my
See,
wife
guys,
likes
you need to join Patreon. Who wants to miss this
my
conversation?
wife, right? My wife actually likes a specific type of rice cake, but they're like tiny and they're covered in caramel, like the hard caramel. And I'm like, why? I get that you like the taste of caramel. I get that, but why would you want it over styrofoam? It don't make no sense to me.
That's it.
Oh, jeez. But I mean, I'll take caramel corn. I'll take actual caramel popcorn. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
But so Joe, ain't got to talk to you in a minute here. How's everything going with you?
Not too bad, man. I mean, just busy. Oh, I gotta respond to that later. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, that's all good.
Just new job, new hours. It's been an adjustment period. I can tell you that, because I'm used to staying up until like the sun comes up, not getting up before the sun comes up. I'm used to still being up at that time. Been on second shift for years and just got, on that whole thing, but now, I work from 6 to 2 or 3. You know, it's I like it a lot better, to be honest with you, because you can't really get anything done when you work second shift. I mean, not me. I know people who can get up early and do stuff before work, and then they come into work tired.
Yeah.
Not this kid. No.
I always hate
no.
second. Give me first, where, like you said, you could be productive and set things up for the crew, or give me third, where I'm left alone to clean up everybody's mess and do what I got to do there. But
I like
I always
thirds.
hated second.
I like thirds because I do
Yeah.
everything after I got off of work. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. That's another. After you get off of work, you go into work fresh, ready to go. You do your job. That's how I like to meet my day. I've never been one. I get up, I shower, I get something to eat, I go to work.
Mhm.
I don't mess around. I do everything I need to do. I do after work, because I want to be, energized and rested and productive at work, and give them my best effort. So that's always been a problem for me. But yeah, it's working out pretty good. I mean, the pay's about the same as what I was doing before, which is surprising. So it's really, I mean, I got to drive though. That's the only thing.
Commute sucks.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I had a job that I commuted 2 hours to and 2 hours from work. So that's like my entire waking hours that I'm not working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. You work 8-9 hours plus then 4 hours travel time.
Yeah. Or doing anything else that you want to do.
Yeah.
Because you're driving just to, and then, the gas, that adds to your fuel cost and adds to mileage on the vehicle and adds to the cost of your oil changes and all that happy stuff. And it's like, I've always been one. I've always lived close. I've always lived close to where I work. Always. I don't know why or how I've managed to do it, but within 10 miles.
Yeah.
Always. Now I'm driving like 25 miles one way. So I'm looking for a place down around where I'm at now. Hopefully we close on this house. That'll be nice. But if not, plan B.
I'm hoping that one day, while I go on vacation and take all my pets with me, that the tree beside my house falls down and crushes my entire house. Okay. Because my roof leaks are that bad, and I'm just like, I paid next to nothing for my house, and my insurance covers it for almost $500,000.
Just need one proper lightning strike on that tree.
Yeah, that one. I mean, it's half of that is house replacement. They're saying it's going to cost like $250,000 to replace the house, and then the other half is insurance covering whatever the house it's housing. My stuff basically. So, I'm just like, I need to.
Shoot, all that memorabilia behind you's got to be worth a fortune.
Right?
Right? That's funny. I've got a book that's priceless, and I would never want to get rid of it. It's priceless to me, right? I mean, signed by my favorite author of all time, directly signed to me when I met him. Look at that. We got Martin in the house. What's up, Martin?
Hey. Who invited
How's it
this
going,
guy?
Martin?
You're on mute, my guy.
There we go. Got it now. You can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
I've been. Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys.
See you too, man. Yeah. So
How are you?
I'd have been on earlier, but I had to go chase a dog. So
how are you sitting outside right now? I mean, you know what I mean. I'm pretty hardcore.
Don't you see my nice Colts leather jacket? See the nice Colts leather jacket? Yeah, got this for $25, and it is real leather.
Nice.
I was it was offered for $200 like a year before, and I kept following it, kept going down. Finally, it dropped it to $25. It was one of those stores that sells off-brand thrift store. Right. $25. That's mine.
Yeah,
Nice.
that ain't
I
no
love it.
joke. If it fits, it fits.
I don't know how old it
25
is either. This is old.
bucks. Oh,
This is old.
vintage. That's it makes it even better.
Vintage.
Yeah.
That's right. That makes it more expensive.
As long as
Yeah.
Well,
I gotta
as
get it
long as
clean.
it's in decent condition. I mean, my car's old, but I didn't pay a
Yeah.
premium for it, but it still runs. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get another 100,000 mile out of it. So why not? You know,
I got a leather
Damn
jacket.
right.
I got a
I'm the same
leather.
way.
I got a leather jacket in my closet that I've had since I was 17. It don't fit
Oh,
me no
nice.
more. It
Yeah.
don't fit me no more. I'm a little big for it, but I mean, if I lost 50 pounds, maybe. But no, I love that jacket. I'll never get rid of it. I was wearing it when my house burnt down way back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
so
You've
I
had some rough times there, Lawrence.
Yeah, but I'm having just about as rough times as I had back then. This is what I was saying earlier. I kind of hope the
Opposite of fire.
tree accidentally falls down and crushes my house. But like I said, I got cats, so this time I want my cats out of my house before any kind of crazy stuff happens, because losing pets is awful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Losing my family would have been terrible. I don't know
Absolutely.
if I don't know if I could have made it with if anything worse happened to my family than what already happened, because Kim was hospitalized for over a month, with inhalation, in that fire. So,
Man.
yeah, it was awful. We had a GoFundMe going because what I made didn't at work was not enough to cover the hotel room, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to GoFundMe just to keep a hotel room until we got our tax return, so we could put a down payment on a house. And luckily, we was able to squeeze by doing that. Yeah,
Well,
had nothing.
yeah, that's kind of crazy you mentioned that, because I mean, I and I wish this didn't have to happen, but it did kind of have to happen when we left Connecticut. I got my Westbrook shirt on.
Yeah.
When we left Connecticut, I had to stay in a hotel room for a couple months. I didn't have a choice because the COVID was in full swing, and the guy I was renting the apartment from down there, it's ridiculously expensive out there. We could barely afford an apartment on the shoreline where we was at, even though I was working in a pretty important job and whatnot. We had to leave because his business was getting ready to go under, and he's like, I got to sell this building. And we were on cash terms with the dude. So there was no lease. He could have said, see ya. So we left, and it's like, okay. Luckily, I was able to withstand the blow from that. But that's rough, man. That is rough. I mean, because then you end up like in some pretty rough places sometimes too. I mean, there was a couple of these hotels I stayed in that were like, okay, yeah, you see that hole in the wall there? Yeah. You know what's back there?
Yeah, right. Well, the hotel
they're probably chewing on the wires. But,
the hotel I stayed at, luckily enough for me, so I was working as the manager for maintenance at Walmart at the time, and I mean, I could have paid for it, but I mean, we had to eat and everything else. Too,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And we had to live on top of paying the hotel room. And luckily, after the money ran out that we had, the manager was like, you know what? I'll let you have a few days a week for free if you do some maintenance around this place. And I was like,
Awesome.
all right, I'll do that.
That works. Yeah.
So I was working like 12 hours a day basically, but at least I was helping, making sure my wife and kids were good. That's all that mattered at that point. And so I'd take it. I took it, and we took this house because, to be fair, it was, like I said, it was cheap, and we knew it. We knew it needed a lot of work. We knew it when we got it, but being that we only had so much money on our tax return,
yeah, that stinks.
You got to have 10%, for a down payment, and that was, we had to settle kind of, and now we're kind of paying for it. I'm hoping that kind of rain that we've had this past week does not happen again until this roof gets replaced.
Oh no, dude, that was a frog strangler. That was a frog strangler. That was bad.
It was.
It came through here. I mean, we get it about. We normally get the weather about an hour or two after. Well, depending on how fast they're moving, but like a couple hours after Yins do. And that was a bad one. It was a frog strangler. I mean, it was sheeting. That was a really abnormal weather event because
was that a previous hurricane or something?
No,
Yeah.
I think what it was is it was a regular old kind of cold front, like your normal old classic, when we was kids and everything, how it would always come through in the same pattern every year. It was one of those types of storms that came through at this time of year when the sun's and the earth is in a certain position, but it ran into a warm front that was coming up from the south that had a lot of moist air. So when those two things hit, I should have been a weatherman, man. But when those two things hit, well, that hot air is going to rise, and then it's going to get up, and the air can't hold it, and it's just going to dump.
Because in
that colder air, it was
all night,
abnormal.
All night last night, the end of the storm that hit us, it looked like all it did was sit there and circle over my house.
Yes, that's what happened. Because the center of circulation came right through where you live, and it came right above where I live, and that's what it was doing. It was just sitting there dumping.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then the warm front wasn't far off from the center of circulation, so that thing just got like really big, really fast because of all the hot air.
Yeah,
that was in this area. It was
because I mean, it basically went from 90 to 50.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wearing a hoodie for God's sakes,
Yeah, right.
I gotta admit, working on that car, the better part of those cars, the better part of the day, I was thankful that it wasn't like it was a couple days ago.
No kidding. Martin, did you get spared by that, or did you live inside that area where the?
Oh hell no. No, it was pouring. No, I'm just south of Joe there, and it was one of those things. It's that long piece of rain. If you watch on the radar, you go, if it goes east, it won't last long. No. Going south to north, right over us in a long stream. It just kept raining and raining and raining.
And that's what got me. That's why I thought it was like a hurricane, because normally up here in where we're at, you don't see that kind of stuff come straight from the south unless it's a hurricane. Normally your rain is coming from the west or the northwest or something of that nature,
Well, actually the front is moving east or west to east.
But
it's the circulation.
Yeah.
But the rain was in the circulation, which it was a low front, and it was like Joe was saying, it was that hot, wet air. It just picked up all that moisture, threw it up in the clouds, and dropped it on us. And that's
it chilled it.
Weather.
It chilled it. It was up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it put it on ice before it dumped.
It was.
Because it was a cold rain, that's for sure.
This was a nasty last 5 days. I know that much. Yeah.
You better get ready for winter, because Farmer's Almanac says it's going to be a bad one, and quite frankly, we're due.
We haven't
about
had
every
a bad
5
winter
years
since.
Don't say that.
What was that, about 7 years?
Sorry, it's just the truth.
I don't care. I don't want.
Like you said, you want to be a weatherman. There's these cycles that happen. Boom.
I'm not listening to Martin. Okay, I'm just not.
About 7 years ago, I think, was the last bad winter. At least where I live, it was. Well, I remember having like a couple feet of snow on the ground and like 30 below wind chill factor. I remember this because I worked as a semi-truck loader and for Dollar General Warehouse, and oh my goodness, I'll tell you what, them trucks, them semis, yes, they get hot in the summer, but when it's cold, oh my goodness, it gets cold inside them things.
I've done that work. Oh yeah.
My wife works for the layaway department. She used to hate having to get in the semis for all the layaways and stuff they have for the holidays, and the locks get frozen, and oh yeah. she's glad that she's not doing that anymore.
No kidding.
Well, you know what? We could bring the Colts in here, because I don't think we have any bad weather games near the last half of the season. Possibly Buffalo in Buffalo, but
yeah.
After that, look at the games.
Yeah,
we're lucky right now.
Yeah, that is
really
lucky.
What date is the Buffalo game? I'm sorry,
like mid-November, I think.
You might dodge a bullet there, but I'm telling you this because this is why I did not want to listen to this guy over here. Okay, because I just got out of upstate New York and I just went through a pretty hellish winter up there.
You get a lot of lake effect over there.
So. That's New York.
Not where I was at. Not where I was at, but Buffalo, you do.
Yeah.
Buffalo, you get.
Well, Buffalo averages 160 inches a year of snow.
Yeah, but they get the snow. But like where I was at, it's more continental, and so you're snowed in by like November, and it doesn't melt.
Yeah, closer towards April. Rochester.
Yep, up that way. It does not melt off.
No,
at all.
Yeah.
Well, don't go there this winter.
I'm not. I'm not.
Right.
We left with fingers out the back window. Let's just put it that way.
Well,
I've never
threw up the deuces, just not the way Naheem Hines does it.
I guess it really does have a lot to do with where you live, because if you ask Texans, they'll tell you it was a horrible winter last year too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
geez, I had to put a pair of shorts on. I couldn't wear my bikini on Christmas. Come on.
Well, I mean, didn't their gas lines and stuff freeze up?
That's because they got hit hard by ice and stuff. Don't forget, they're not used to that. Right. Atlanta, good gravy. Everything once the temperature gets down to 9 degrees or whatever, their streets are freezing up, and it's a nightmare.
Atlanta went under, or Georgia, the entire state went under a state of emergency with about, I kid you not, a 1/4 inch of snow.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you remember,
they don't know how to drive on the stuff. And
it's not that. In Atlanta and the whole state of Georgia, they have all those little bridges, and those little bridges let the airflow go under there, and it just freezes. I mean, guys, I'm telling you right now, it's something to, I mean, because you don't even see it. You know, you sit there and, I mean, you hear black ice. This is like, you don't really even see the ice. There is no ice. It's just all of a sudden you're going and then you're not. You're like, what the heck is going on? But yeah, they don't.
10,000 little ice rigs, huh?
They don't. They didn't pitch. They didn't pitch the roads and stuff, so the water would actually just sort of sit there. And then, like I said, all that cooling and stuff. When I was driving over the road, I mean, if I had to go to Florida, I would find a way. I would rather drive through the mountains of Carolinas or whatever just to get away from driving through, downtown Atlanta during December. I hate it.
Jack Crumbless is in here. What's going on, Jack? Appreciate you being in here. I did send the link. If you happen to want to come in and say hi, you're welcome to, or you can just sit and chill, ask questions, talk, whatever you want to do. We're in here. I did lose myself a patron this last few days. That kind of sucks. I hope he's okay.
Sorry about that.
Give me the name. I'll go find
him. We'll go after him.
No, I mean, he probably has something going on in his life. I mean, it happens. But
well, I was late on a payment once because I was traveling and somebody got a hold of my card at a gas station, and I had to get a new. Nip that in the bud, but I had to wait for the new damn card to come, and here we go.
Yeah.
Set everything back
in
up.
New York. It was in New York.
So, has everybody seen Lawrence's show with the Believe in podcast yet?
Oh yeah,
with the Quill.
Yeah.
Right,
oh yeah,
cool.
With the Quill. Yeah, good show. Good show.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the other one with the Titans.
Oh, the new one that just
dropped. I didn't get to see that.
No.
I didn't get to see that yet.
Yeah, I just dropped it today.
He just dropped it. Yeah, I seen that in my email. And I'm like, well, okay.
Check it out, guys. I'll tell you right now. I was sitting there listening to this guy. Man, I'm super hyped. I'm telling you right now. I was sitting there thinking, I just want Quiddy to hold that edge. Oh man, this tackle situation that they've got going on in Tennessee. Now I'm like, Quiddy, hey. Jack!
They don't think Taylor. He don't think Taylor Lewan's going to be playing this Sunday.
Right.
Oh, why?
Why? He had a knee injury to go on top of the ACL tear he had from last year.
From the way I understand it, he was warming up during the Seattle game, and in warm-ups tweaked something, and he was like, he ended up not playing the entire game.
They're calling it a knee sprain. Yeah.
Yeah. So
wow. Sprain means torn, right?
It is.
Something's torn.
Just a low degree of tear. It's like a 10 to 12. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Mild tear. Yes.
Yeah.
But
that sucks.
Yeah, that's what
for them.
Sucks for them. Yeah. Sucks for them. I wouldn't wish any injury on anyone. Taylor Lewan's had his issues with injuries since he's been in the NFL. You know, when he's on the field, he's a solid left tackle. You know,
he's a pretty cool dude. Just watching his show, you ever watch Bussin' with the Boys?
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
I've seen that.
I like him, but there is twice a year that you just sort of have to sit there and like him next week.
A little less.
Yeah, him and Q are quite good friends apparently. So, which is nothing bad.
Speaking of injuries and people not going to be playing for a little while, TJ Watt, dude, what's up with that?
Groin injury. Yeah, the groin injury. And that was not the only one. Hayden was out, the groin injury. I forget offhand. The other one, there were 3 groin injuries on that team in the same week. And what that tells me.
Is they're having Rochambeau contests?
I would that to me, that would be more acceptable than what I was thinking. To me, that says you're not in football shape.
Yeah.
That's what that says to me. So that the TJ Watt, you sit out your agent is, and I think there was some, if you really think about how this whole thing went down, his agent is going for this like max, like LeBron James type, BS deal, like they all do when they have a big year and they're in a contract year. And I get it. Okay. I get it. You got to get paid. You got to feed you got to feed your family. That's a lot of ramen noodles, bro. I'm just telling you. I'm just saying. Okay, that's a lot of ramen noodles.
Hot dogs in those ramen noodles now.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to put those in a time capsule and feed the next whatever species that inhabits the planet after us. Okay, so no, but that tells me he sat out all that time, and his agent is pushing for this huge deal, and that one day he finally got tired of it and said, "Wait a minute, I haven't really been
Yeah,
because you know how this works. You can work out in a weight room all you want.
Yep.
You can do all the and whatever you want to do, the physical preparation on your own that you want. But when it comes to getting in football shape, and people say football shape, you got to get out there, and you got to be pounding
because
pads.
You're going to be stretching muscles and ligaments and all that stuff that you don't do when you're out working out in the So
and I think that's a big reason that you hear a lot of these guys now doing all these different types of yogas and just a lot of resistance.
I was just going to say
stretch out everything. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
JT went to Pilates, and he specifically said he went to Pilates to work out the other little muscles that don't get worked, and they're the ones that clam up. My brother is in sports medicine and acupuncture.
Okay.
And he says the same thing. That's what he repairs all the time with his acupuncture is the muscles that jam up, that stop working.
Yep.
They're tiny. They're in between things. You don't use them when you're working out. He sees all kinds of athletes for this. And JT said that's why he went to Pilates. Look,
now
we have an injury. Our injury rate is just freaking stupid, isn't it?
Yeah,
especially
it's
at the beginning of the year.
It's insane.
Our training department, I know they work in with the training department. I know they're working on every scientific thing possible to reduce injuries. But apparently we're not getting there.
Well,
so maybe it's somebody like JT we need to listen to and go to Pilates.
You sat there and you said you've seen that DeQuell episode. He said he spent almost as much time doing pre-maintenance and stuff, and he spent as much time in the training room. He said Andrew Luck that year that he was there with the shoulder, and he was like, he goes, Andrew was probably the only person that spent more time in the room. And he said his wasn't because of injury. He was trying to do all that he
keep
could.
The body.
Yeah, do all that he could just to avoid those injuries and those
right
and those dingers.
Read the stories of JT. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Read the stories of JT in Wisconsin. Yeah. He come home from the road games. All the other players went to go drink. He went straight to the training room and jumped in the ice bath and took care of his body. And that's how he did 900 something plus freaking carries without injury.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
I mean,
that's absolutely right. Well, that's
there's something to be taken,
One of my
and you're right. Groin injuries are the first indication.
Now let's be honest, though. If we're using JT as the bar, I mean that's a pretty high bar as far as just physical build goes.
Let's give Joe a moment to say something.
Well,
here.
no, it's okay. But to touch on what Martin was saying, and to go back into the question that you were talking about, Lawrence, is that one of my mom's best friends is a massage therapist. He's been doing it for years. He's very good. Knows everything there is to know about the human body, and he's one of my good friends as well. And that guy. He would. It's exactly what Martin was saying. It's all the support muscles. Honey? If you injure one of those, it makes everything else harder, and then you're continue. Then you have nerve issues. Then you have soft tissue damage in terms of ligaments that can damage your ligaments, and you can get into situations where your main muscle groups might be fine, your quads might be fine, your biceps, your pecs. Your glutes, that all that stuff might be fine, but then you're starting to get into like the nitty gritty of the body, and like then you make yourself truly vulnerable to those ligament damage and things of that nature. So that's a great point that you bring up, and man, I mean,
it's like a domino effect.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly. And then the next thing you're dealing with a strained hamstring because you're trying to overwork that hamstring, and it's just good. That's a great point, Mark.
Well, that's another place where injuries come from, is when you're slightly injured in one area, you're compensating with some other muscles, and a lot of times those other muscles aren't ready to compensate. And like we just both said, sometimes those not working muscle groups are in that group you're trying to use to compensate. Boom, 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 boom. Next thing is, it's worse. There's a lot of things to be worked on.
I tore some ligaments around my elbow when I was working at the warehouse, right here, and I didn't know this, but at the time, I continued working with it because you can't miss. I couldn't miss work, right?
Yeah.
Even with torn ligaments, and so I kept working, and I kept feeling like a rubber band snap every once in a while, right there, and it got to the point where I literally could not grab a potato chip out of a bag of chips, right? Because it's that much pain. And I went to the doctor, and they were trying, my work got mad at me because, obviously because of that. But I went to the doctor, and they said, the reason what happened was you tore a couple ligaments because of your work, because your body wasn't used to that type of work. You were new at it, right? And you started compensating different ligaments, different muscles, holding it different way, and it just kept tearing all the way around to the point where I couldn't use that arm at all anymore. At all. I had to go through like 6 weeks of rehabilitation with my arm. They tried electroshock therapy. Believe it or not, that is actually a thing, and it's awful. It's awful. I did the ice thing instead of the electroshock. The ice thing, they do it until it's so numb that you'll feel like it's on fire, and then you won't feel nothing, And then once you feel nothing, then they let it go of it, and you're done. But the electroshock. Literally, I'm sitting here and they're turning up the dial.
Yeah.
And they say when it gets too bad, when it gets too bad, let me know so I can turn it down. And I'm sitting there and I'm feeling in it, and it feels weird, but I can handle it, right? Then all of a sudden my hand just goes, and I couldn't open my hand, And they were like, "Are you doing that on purpose?" And I was like, "No, I have no control over that."
If I was doing it on purpose, I'd be doing it this way.
I know, and they said, well, you were supposed to tell me, and I was like, I can handle the pain. It's weird, it feels very odd.
I had the same setup that I use for my back from time to time, and they put these 6 pads on your back and stuff, and then they send these pulses and stuff. I remember I went in the first time I'd ever done it went into rehab from my back injury and stuff. And the lady sits there and she gets it. Okay, and you look at it and there's these two knots. You know, one's for the left side, one's for the right side. She looks at it. She thinks that it reads 0 and stuff, right? She gets me all hooked up and everything, right? Then she flips the switch onto this thing. And I kid you not, fellas. She made this fat boy dance because I was just like, what? I was, and she sits there. She's like, "Is that too high?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah, you know,
A little bit.
I couldn't breathe."
Tasered.
It went about. I'd say maybe about 3 inches below my shoulder blades, and then all the way down to my tuchus, you know, just on the upper side. And they sat there and and then they had one in between. And she thought it was at 0 for off, and it was actually all the way on high.
Wow.
She hit me with that thing, and she hit me, and I was just like,
I'm surprised
and there was
you
no
didn't hear a bunch
breathing.
of popping from your spine.
There was no breathing. There was no nothing.
Wow,
I get done. I kid you not. I get done and stuff, and it wasn't. And now, mind you, this was back in '92. Okay, but I mean, I kid you not. The next day and a half later or whatever, I had these little marks on my back where the little sticking things were hooked up to me and stuff. Because just that instant, I mean, oh man, she lit me up. I was just like, I'm suing her. I'm not going to be able to walk. I'm suing her.
Well, in terms of that, like Lawrence, what you were talking about, the electroshock therapy, and the way that my friend explained this is when I would go through a deep tissue massage, when I was much more athletic and I was into bodybuilding and all that kind of stuff, the way he explained it was like when you get certain muscles that are tensed up so bad like that, he'll find the knot and then he'll isolate it. And then what he would do is he would just use his hands because he's a big, like 300-pound, like, you know, he's an ex-football player.
Yeah.
So he could get in there and just, you know, but he would find that knot. And what he would do is he would put so much pressure with his finger on that muscle that he would shock it to a point where he would just give up. The muscle would just give up. And I think that is the same concept with the electroshock therapy, although how much, you know, it depends on where they rig you up at and what you're trying to do. But for what
it's
he
the
would
same
do with
thing.
his hands, yes. Go ahead, buddy.
That's what my brother does with acupuncture. And he does use some very low voltage electricity sometimes for a little jiggle, not big electricity like poor Loyalist over there. But he does the same exact thing. What he's trying to do is unlock the muscle. He's trying to unlock the muscle.
On this guy. Let's go.
Like I said, I don't even know why that setting was allowed. There is no way you're telling me that helps any injury.
Hook him up. Just hook him up to an F-350 diesel. He's going to be good to go.
Well, you know, I mean.
But that causes so many problems right there.
With rhinos before they got to you, you know? I mean, what's going on, Colts fan? What's up?
Same old. Sorry about the lousy camera. It's part of the system I've got.
It looks better than my backdrop. I got
I'm not
at least it's got a little bit of character.
Plus, I'm so ugly, it needs to be fuzzy.
Whatever.
That's good. Whatever. Looks good. You got character. Don't worry about
anyway, so, you know. I didn't know how to get onto this thing, Lawrence, until you mentioned that you sent me the invite, and I went back and started playing around, and finally I figured out how to do it. I'm like, oh, because I'm so computer illiterate, it's not even funny.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. We all are that way, you know. I mean, it just takes practice, really, understanding, I was that way at one point too, you know, not 2 years ago, you know. So I get you.
Now Lawrence is so good he can be at 3 places at once.
I'm telling you.
I feel like I was this past week as many freaking podcasts.
Well, I'm pretty sure you were because I seen you with DeQuell. I seen you with
that's a lot of work, man. That's a lot of work doing all that. I mean, just having one is.
I enjoy it's tiresome, but I enjoy it because I know that when I have all these people asking me to join as guests, it tells me that I'm at least doing something right. You know what I mean? So, you know,
I agree with you.
They don't. I'm not going to ask someone who I don't think is going to give me good information to come join my show, you know. So I assume they're going to be the same way. But and then of course Ray's thing with because Connor on Ray Rout's show, he's been down for a week over there on Dear Pat's Nation. They think he's got the you know what because of how bad he's off. We've just been getting different guest hosts to cover. I covered on I think Tuesday, and then I came in yesterday for a little while. But it's still a thing. It's still a thing. They actually lost one of their people who close followers of his show because he died. You know, so it sucks. But
hey guys, I appreciate it. If I can make it back, I'll try to make myself back. But I gotta
that's cool.
work on these cars.
I'll keep an eye down there. If I see you, then I see you. I'll bring you back, man.
All righty, guys. Have a good one.
Good luck.
All right, buddy.
Take care, Colts Loyalist. Go Colts.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Welcome, Colts fan 57. How are you?
Thank you, sir. I'm doing just as good as an old 65-year-old screwed up retiree can be.
I've got to hear it. I'm 58 though, so I've been around a little bit.
Guy,
what are you living
This
at?
guy has my dream job. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Really?
Yeah,
Lawrence has my dream job.
Being retired. Being retired.
Hey, I'm planning for it.
That's my
I'm
dream
planning
job.
for it.
I work more
This
now.
house right here is where I'm going to live. So I've got that part down.
Martin, I'm telling you, I work more now than what I did before I started doing this. Okay, and I don't even do anything outside of covering the Colts and doing content and stuff. But I put more hours into it than what I did when I was working a 9-to-5 job.
But you love it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
but
love the
I do
Colts,
like my
and you
job,
love
so
what
it
you're
makes
doing.
Exactly.
It's so much easier to put in all those hours when you really love it. You know.
Really love
Well, it still makes you tired, but.
Yeah.
Of all the other sites that I've gone to in the last, since around draft time, and really started getting into this kind of stuff, I ended up with Lawrence and ended up joining his Patreon because I like the way he gives the information out, and he doesn't mind smoking a cigarette once in a while.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I got to be careful with that though, because with YouTube,
and I can't get a lot of the games down here where I'm at, and I can't. I'm on a fixed income. I can't afford all these,
Yeah.
$70
Yeah, it's
just to watch
ridiculous.
football. Last year I could because the NFL allowed it because of the COVID. This year they don't. Down here in Louisiana, I might get maybe 4 Colts games during the year, and 2 of those are the Texans.
yeah.
I won't get the Titans game this year. So I wanted somebody that was going to give me good information, good feedback, and that I could communicate with either through the chat or like this is new. And I stuck with Lawrence because I like the way he does it.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
I agree.
Here.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I agree.
As a matter of fact, like I was talking earlier when I went to go pick up the food for me and my family before I started this stream, and it's sitting right there in front of me. I haven't eaten it yet, but when I went to get it, I was sitting there waiting on the whoever that person is that goes and gets my food. Person walks in and I was wearing this. And he's like, wait, you're Lawrence Owen? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I watch your stuff all the time. And I was like, I live in a 30,000 population town, okay? That's very, very small, considering, some of the larger cities around.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, and I don't get that all the time. But I think that's like the 5th person from my hometown that I live in that has stopped and said, hey, I know who you are. And I was like, that's really cool. That's nice. I got that a lot, obviously, when I went to camp, I got stopped all the time when I was at camp, you know, and they would stop me.
Feels good, don't it?
That's
Yeah,
great.
it does. It does. It takes getting used to, though. I'll tell you that much.
I bet.
When someone stops you and says, "Hey, could you sign my shirt?" You know, and I'm like, really? I didn't think I was so big, really, that you know, you want my autograph, but or take pictures with and stuff like that, you know. But you know,
Did
what?
you move up to?
That's awesome.
Did you move up to signing boobs yet?
No, I have not had
awesome.
anyone ask me to sign their breast.
Okay. Okay. Well, here.
Darn.
I'm just telling
Keep
you.
working on it.
My wife would shoot me in the face with a bazooka. I'm telling you that much right now.
Now, if you ever feel like it does get a little bit too big for you, just remember this, okay? If you got people stopping you in your hometown and they're happy to see you, that's a plus, because I've been in a few towns where I've lived where if anybody stops me, it's probably not a good thing, and they probably want me to sign something else. So I'm just saying, count your blessings, okay?
Right,
You know?
right.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
Well, with
Yeah,
with
you know that guy. Okay, all right.
with
He's
Colts
doing it
fan
again,
down
all right.
there,
Let's go.
I
Come
might
on.
that with what you just said. See, on my Twitter, I used to always post videos of the games as it was going, you know, and just for people who couldn't catch them, you know, the game.
Right.
And I can't do that if I do live stream reactions to the game, you know, like I did this past Sunday. And I don't know, those people who follow me both on Twitter and on YouTube, I don't know what they'd rather have. Would they rather have video little clips of big plays that happen, or would they rather have like the Patreon live stream like I did just this past week, where I'm, you know, reacting to the game as it goes, because that's something I don't know, because I get the games, you know, so I don't know.
I'll vote for your live stream because I had a blast last Sunday.
Oh, did you?
Oh wow, hell yeah!
All right, all right.
And I think I didn't know this for sure until we had the game, but you react exactly like I do, except for occasionally I throw stuff.
Well, I can't afford to throw stuff.
Well, I don't. I have a foam. My wife bought me for Christmas several years ago, and it's
A
called
foam brick.
It's a TV brick. Yeah, and it's made of foam. It looks like a brick, but it's made of foam, and it says TV brick on it. It's damn TV.
Yep.
I just
That's awesome.
I get tired of getting up and going and getting it so I can throw it again.
Oh my god.
You know, but your reaction, I could listen to your reaction to know exactly what was going on. You were giving me information. You know, case in hand was when Carson went down with his second ankle injury.
Yeah.
Oh my
Your description of it. Your description of it, when I actually got a chance to see the video replay of it, I thought, well, I feel like I actually saw it.
Oh, okay.
You know, and but like I say, your reaction, you're a Colt fan, I can tell.
Yeah.
Because your reaction was exactly like mine would be. You get excited, you scream, you holler, you cuss. So do I.
Yeah.
You know, but you're real. You're just, you know,
that's it.
It's
That to me, that's the main thing about his content, is he's like a real legit dude. And the other thing about it is, like, I think when you have people like DeQuell, for example, that's just one example, who are willing to work with you, they know it too.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see guys that may be, I'm not going to name any names, you see guys that may be a little bit, maybe quote unquote, bigger, that are out there. And I equate that to, okay, I feel like you're kind of in this middle ground with your content where you could like be, you could, the way you handle yourself and the way you're doing things, you could work for one of the major, I would bet my, well, I'm not going to say that, but I would bet some money that, that you could do that. In terms of how you present your content, I feel like maybe you're a bigger, quote unquote, threat to the mainstream media than some of these other guys are, because it's like, okay, I'll give you an example. To kind of circle back, when you talk about gaming, you got these Twitch streamers that they do color comment on games, video games, and stuff like that. That's like their whole okay. It's kind of like, to me, you're the one who's like really breaking it down, and you're the one. I mean, you had an interview with Frank Reich, for crying out loud. I mean, that's got some weight to me. That carries a lot of weight, because you know, if you're the one who's like being able to get access to and like one of these people who are doing this independent kind of broadcasting, and you're one of those people that they're bringing into the fold on this to try to explore this alternative method of, you know, broadcasting news or content, however you want to look at it. That's a pretty amazing thing. So I mean, keep your head on a swivel, bro. I mean, not for nothing, but not to say anything bad about it, but I think what you're doing is it's fantastic, and I think it should be something that other people who attempt this sort of thing should aspire to do, regardless of what kind of content they're covering. The way you lay everything out is just real. You're a regular guy, but you're also intelligent and you're respectful, and people pick up on that. And, you know, I'd rather be here than, you know, on some of these other shows.
I agree.
What I try to do is
couldn't put it better.
When I do, like, with my live streams, I act like, you know, I try to make it like, you know, we're all in the same room. Like those of you who are, you know, can't be in here with me, but you're in the chat or something, you know, it's like I'm talking to a friend of mine that's sitting on the couch next to me or something. I'm not going to be mean about things. I'm lay it out evenly for you, in ways that like your average everyday Joe can understand. Because
hey, wait a minute. Wait.
Okay, Joe, but you get what I'm saying, right?
What'd you call me? No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, my problem. See, like when I do like my film room breakdowns, which I haven't been able to do this year because NFL Network is being ridiculous with getting that put out. But when I do those, I say things and explain things in a common manner, right? And they're like, well, you obviously never played football because you're not talking in the lingo. And I'm like, I can do the lingo, but, you know,
I don't want the lingo.
75% of the people who watch it don't understand it. So why would I do that? I want to put it in a word. I want to put it in a way that your average fan will be able to understand and get. You know,
layman's terms.
Exactly.
Layman's terms.
That's one of the reasons why I like you so much.
I know.
That's why I said I'm going to do this. I'm only going to do one person, and I'm going to do Lawrence, because the way you approach it, the way you explain it, what you just said is perfect.
I appreciate it. Yeah,
I'd rather watch this than, to be honest with you, than ESPN. I'd rather have this type of format.
Oh yeah.
Than have some, you know, loudmouth gas bag, you know, throwing some kind of twisted agenda at me. I mean, we talked about that a lot on some earlier show, like a couple months ago when I first got here to Ohio and everything, you know, about how it's like then you talk about the lingo, and what does the lingo actually mean? Now we're coaching people exactly how to speak, how to talk, how to talk in terms that we can put on TV to push our agenda because it's our thing and whatever and all this, you know. Well, you've never played football. Well, you know, wait a minute. Have you ever been in a locker room for you to say that? Have you ever been in a locker room? Do you know how guys really talk?
Exactly.
In the locker room, they don't talk like they talk on ESPN. They don't talk like they talk at press conferences. They don't.
It's like, if you watch what me and DeQuell do, and he's sitting there, he says, "I love talking X's and O's," right?
Right.
But when you hear him talk about it, he talks a lot like I do. Occasionally, he will drop a term, a football term that they use, in the locker,
Oh yes,
or
in terms of
like on
yes.
game film nights and stuff
Playbook
like that.
terms, yes.
But he'll explain it. He will say, he won't just stop and say, a 3 wide deep. He will explain, hey, what I mean by that is the receiver is going to cut up and he's going to split between the outside corner and the safety, right? That's what he's looking to do. And he'll explain what these terms are because they accidentally come out, and it's just easier to say that term than explain it long ways. And then he notices that, and he'll stop and say, okay, this is actually what I mean by that. And that helps most people. What's up, Mark?
You asked him about the run blitz.
Yeah.
And he did a beautiful job. Because I've heard of the run blitz.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I've watched football all my life, but I'm not, that deep in it. But he explained the run blitz, and now I know what to look for, and I'll be able to say, run blitz,
Yeah.
From the interior linebacker going in to hit like the A gap to stop the run or maybe make it into to sack the quarterback, depending on how that play went.
Well, and a lot of times what you'll see with that too is they might hold up for just a second to play like they're spying or something. They'll wait just a second to see if somebody catches a double team, and they'll do like a running back on a run blitz sometimes. If somebody ends up picking up a double team on the gap they're supposed to hit, they might cut and hit another gap.
Exactly.
So all the terminology with all the formations and all that stuff, that's I think we boiled it down because back in my day, there used to be everybody had their own playbook kind of thing. Now we've kind of boiled it down to these universal concepts and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you can drop a term like, you can drop a military term. I could, I could sit there and talk about, laying pipe down with a C-130 or something, and okay, big deal. What's that mean? Okay, it means you were in a big airplane and somebody was blowing somebody up. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's the same, but you boil all this fancy terminology down to a concept that people can understand. That's the whole thing. A lot of people don't know what cover 2 is. They don't know they don't know the difference between cover 2, cover 3, or cover 0. They don't understand it.
Well, it's like.
Well, I learned that from Tony Dungy, but.
Well, there you go. Okay.
Well, it's like terminology. Still, a lot of terminology is different from one locker room to another, right? Even to this day, a rollout to one team in one locker room will be called a naked bootleg in another. And it's basically the exact same thing. The only difference is whether or not you're handing the pretending to hand the football off. But it's basically the exact same play. The quarterback rolls out out of the pocket and has no one in front of him to block, right? He's just rolling out of the pocket itself. And now, another thing, man, it's pretty easy to discuss football if you've watched it and you just use common sense. Right? I mean, it really is. I mean, you don't even have to play football, I don't think, to understand it if you've watched it enough and you have common sense. But to be explained why certain things are the way they are, that's a different story. And that's what I try to get into.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can bridge that gap and when you've actually played and okay, you can get into, the minutia of, and that's the interesting thing about it is that you can get into the minutia of a playbook and, understand, the difference between, say, a toss play and a screenplay.
Yeah.
You can, I mean, to the average viewer, they're going to see somebody get the ball right off the rip in the backfield, and they're not necessarily going to understand the difference between a toss play. That's an ancient, outdated concept now because nobody does that anymore.
Yeah.
I think they should get back to that. But or just, okay, well, the guy ran too far or whatever, and he threw the ball to him, and it's the same thing, right? No, it's not. Or the Y cross, or a dagger concept, and how those things are fundamentally different in terms of pass protection, who you're trying to isolate, all that kind of stuff. And really, what you're talking about is if you can break it down into a way that a person understands. Hey, look, you see this big. If they see it on their TV, hey, you see where these guys are lined up on the field before the ball snap. Excuse me. You see this big hole? You see this big green patch of grass over here? That's probably where the ball's going to go.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. I mean, it's,
And that brings up to me, remember Peyton Manning's stretch play with Edgerrin James?
Yeah.
The stretch play was designed to stretch all the way out so that Edgerrin could go over the numbers area on the outside and gain speed. And once you know what happened, once Edgerrin gained speed, a lot like Henry.
Yeah.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
But at the same time, that also helped his play action because he was so good at hiding that after the stretch play.
Oh, he
could pull that back in.
That.
Yeah, he practiced the heck out of it. That way
his
play action off of that works wonderful. So, yeah.
Basically, it's the same exact thing as what the old toss play used to be.
Exactly. Only
the
quarterback is holding
handoff.
the football still. Yeah.
It
puts a lot more effort for the quarterback because he actually has to take a few steps as quickly as possible to get the ball into the breadbasket of the running back rather than just going, take it.
Yeah, it's a good thing Peyton was tall and had long arms.
Yeah, because he wasn't moving very fast.
Because running was not his forte.
No. Even though he did run.
Oh, yeah.
He had some fabulous runs now. Come on.
He had that.
Once every 5 years, he'd pull run them that way, and I'll go around this way and be all by myself.
But he had a long stride, too.
Especially on the goal line. Yep.
Yeah.
He could fool him. He could fool him every time.
He was such a good ball handler, though. I mean,
why did
I'm sorry, he made the defense just lose where the ball went because, and he would carry out his fakes afterwards and stuff, and people, don't appreciate what he did, what he put into the game. Look, I watched his dad for years. I watched his dad in college. I'm that old, okay. And beating the snot out of LSU here because I live in Louisiana and everybody's an LSU fan.
Well, that's cool.
And I was an Archie Manning fan. When he was running around,
me too,
with a cast on his arm, his thumb sticking up, and playing college football at Ole Miss, and the man was unbelievable. If the Saints ever could have got a line for him, there's no telling where he might have gone.
Well, that was, that's interesting that you bring that up because when I was a kid, I'm a little bit younger than you, but. I loved the Saints. And Archie Manning was one of the things. I'm like, the Saints have any good players? Archie Manning was the first thing that came up. And, well, why didn't they win the Super Bowl? Well, because all right, well, and you get into that whole thing. And so, for me, when I remember, and this is kind of getting a little bit weird, but I want to kind of comment on that. You being in Louisiana as a Saints. Fan as a kid. I remember the days. I don't know if you remember the strike where they played 15 games, and the Saints they brought up all the scabs and all that stuff, and they had Bobby Hebert, and they had who the hell all the damn. It was Sam. Wait a minute, Sam Mills came from that.
Yes.
Whole thing. Ricky Jackson. Those guys, they didn't have Morton Anderson. Did they have Morton Anderson on the team?
I don't know. I watched the Colts tear up the Jets with Chris Chandler on half-price tickets in that strike. So I remember.
So what made you a Colts fan, buddy? I'm curious.
My whole family's from Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
So I grew up a Colts fan.
Okay, all right.
And really funny, my uncle who worked for Pinkerton Security used to he ran the security at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. in 1980, the summer of 84, the summer of 83, he got transferred to Indianapolis.
Okay. All right.
Right. That following winter, guess who followed? I blamed it on him. All his
That's a
fault
neat
that they
story,
moved out of Baltimore.
That's a cool story. That's
He
neat.
went to
Okay.
Indianapolis. So yeah, I blamed it on him because I said, you're the reason that they missed you at the stadium, so they just moved here. They just went to Indianapolis. My father asked me, he said, well, who are you going to be a fan? Like, I hate the Cowboys. So always, I grew up hating
Thank
the
you.
Cowboys.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Well,
I'm
a registered Cowboy hater.
Okay.
You know,
Pass me an
And
application.
Steelers.
and
Hey, whoa. Now we're getting
Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe. Don't like the Steelers.
My older brother graduated with Terry Bradshaw, same class. So we were all Steelers fans until they played the Colts. Well, he was a Steelers fan, period. I was a Steeler fan until they played the Colts, and then the hell with you. But
yeah,
I get that. I get that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when my dad asked me, he says, well, who are you going to be a fan of? I says, as long as they keep the little blue horseshoe and call themselves Colts, I'll be a Colts fan. I don't care where they go. They can go to Timbuktu for all I care.
Well,
I'm a Colts
Amen,
fan.
brother.
That's
Love
cool.
you.
That's cool.
I see,
Yes.
kids, I see the local city, minor football teams. If they got one that's got called the Colts or got a blue horse or got a horseshoe, don't care what color it is. If they got a horseshoe on their helmet, I'm their fan. You know, I was a fan of Colt 45 malt liquor for a while because
Whoa! That was it.
You want to go back a little ways? I was a fan.
Yeah.
I was a fan of the Colt 45s, which was a minor league baseball team in Houston before the Astros came along.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought you were talking about the other Colt. I mean, there's like the 1911 Colt 45, and then there's that malt liquor that I used to drink in high school. That I'm
a fan of Colt guns, and I'm a fan of Colt 40. Was a fan of Colt 45.
That's a good. That's a good.
Well, I really don't drink anymore, but I had to get off the malt liquor stuff. That stuff screw your brain up.
Yeah, I can't.
And look, I'm a plastic model builder. I've been doing it since I was 5. So I've been snipping glue since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Question as to what's wrong.
I did that when I was young. Oh, yeah.
I've been snipping glue since I was 5. So I've been doing it for 59 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, I hope that's
60 years now.
I hope that did not influence your decision to become a Colts fan.
I said I didn't hear anything but Colts as I was growing up. So I was a Colts fan, Baltimore Orioles fan, and Baltimore. Remember them, the Baltimore Bullets. I was a fan of all of them. Okay, and
you darn, that's cool. That's neat.
Actually, the Ravens are my second team, unless they're playing.
All right, you know what?
Well,
we're done.
Well,
okay, we're
it's
done.
the Baltimore connection.
yeah. The
I
Baltimore.
know a lot of
absolutely.
people hate the Colts.
Can't blame me for that.
I know
Okay,
people,
wait a second.
I know people in Baltimore who hate the Colts because they moved to Indianapolis.
It's the
So they
Cleveland
hate
Browns.
Indianapolis, which I
think we watch
Cleveland
those
Browns.
games when we go to Baltimore.
I used to be a truck driver, and I spent a lot of time in Indianapolis. And if I was going to move to a large city, that's one of them I would seriously consider. I love
Indy's
the
not
town.
bad. Indy's
I really
really
love
not bad.
the city. I really do, and I do
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I live across the river from a city that's got about 300,000 people in it. It's too damn big for me. And where I live across the river, even though I'm right across the river, we're 36,000 in my town.
That's about where I'm sitting at in my town.
And that's big enough for me.
Yeah,
You know?
same.
So
I grew up in Indy. And I remember them moving and the whole 9 yards. And I followed the Colts before that. I did follow the Colts before that. But, I grew up in Indy. When they landed, yay, we got a football team. Yeah. It's all mine. It's all ours. Yes, dove all the way into it. I've been a Colts fan ever since. I'm in Columbus, Ohio now, but that doesn't stop my Colts fan.
I watched from Johnny Unitas and Lenny Moore all the way to Carson Wentz and Pittman Jr.
See,
I've been
now,
there.
I was
Been
wanting
there,
to
done
say,
that. Yep.
I was wanting to say something since I'm kind of going back on what you were talking about earlier, but a lot of people want to say you can't have two favorite teams, in the same sport, and I think that's BS. I utterly think that's BS. The reason why I grew up as a Colts fan, because when they came in to Indy, I was 7. Okay, so they were my home team. I was the fan of the home team, but they weren't any good, right? They were not good at all. So I had to have someone to also root for that could win a little bit once in a while. And I loved, and I hate saying this because I can't stand the fans from this group right now. But at the time, I loved the Philadelphia Eagles back when Randall Cunningham and Jerome Brown and Reggie White and Keith Jackson and all them guys were over there. They were fun to watch. They were really good. I liked them. And not everybody was a fan of them because at the time it was more your San Francisco 49ers and the Buffalo Bills and stuff like that were going pretty good. Right. So I was a fan of the Eagles, but like you said, if they played the Colts, sorry Philly, I'm rooting for the Colts.
Okay, so I don't mean to interrupt you, Law Dog.
Go ahead.
But on that point that you just brought up, okay, so the Randall Cunningham days and all that stuff. Okay, now I have a soft spot for the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I have a soft spot for the Cardinals. Okay, and the reason for that is because if it wasn't for the Cardinals, the Chicago Cardinals at the time, mm-hmm. and the Eagles, Pittsburgh Steelers would not be a football team.
Yeah,
they would not have survived World War II. So I always have a soft spot for those two teams. Those are the two other teams that I root for. So you're talking about the Randall Cunningham days. So I'm growing up like when Terry Bradshaw and Jack Lemon. I'm growing up during literally, you go to kindergarten. The first thing they teach you about is who's on the steel curtain. That's how I grew up. Okay. And my uncle, it was after that era, a couple of years, and my uncle, I went to a Super Bowl party at his apartment when my dad and my uncle were watching this football game, and my uncle was rooting for the Raiders against the Eagles. And I'm like, Uncle B, what are you talking about? No, I want the Eagles to win the game. He's like, oh, and he's like, oh, pluck at the branch, like making fun of me. I'm like, how can you possibly? And we got into a fight. I forget how old I was. I was like maybe 9 or 10 or something like that. And I'm like, no, you're not allowed to do that. You can't root for the Raiders. You can't be doing that. I mean, so it was back then.
Love the old Raiders.
The Steelers are they hated each other. I'm like, how can you? Because my grandfather taught me that when I was a kid. No, you can't. Nah, that's off limits. Okay, if you root for the Eagles, that's okay. If you root for the Cardinals, that's okay. I've been to both their games, blah blah blah. But you're not allowed to root for the Raiders. And my uncle was doing it, and he was making fun of me. And I think he just did it just to get me going. You know what I mean? Because he knew, So anyway.
I had it so much different. My dad. I've been watching football with my dad probably since I was 5 years old. Every Sunday, every game we could watch on television, my dad would point out all the great players. Watch Frank Tonkington, watch Alan Page. There's Dick Buckus. You watch how he plays, and then he pointed out Joe Namath to me. And I remember the Super Bowl III. I was young. I was very young, but I remember Super Bowl III because my dad was so upset about Joe Namath saying they were going to win. And the Colts at that time were considered one of the best teams ever in the NFL.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They can't beat the Colts.
That was going to happen.
They can't beat the Colts, And so I remember that game specifically, and I've watched it over and over several times now.
Okay, Martin, and you know why that was even bigger than what you're talking about?
Oh, it set up the NFC, AFC coming together to make the NFL.
It set up the NFL, AFL.
It was the crux of it. Yes.
Well,
that,
it was.
and then that's
The
where
next
the Al
year.
Davis thing comes from, and all that. And,
Yep.
yeah.
And then I followed the Miami Dolphins, their undefeated season. I followed all that. I was a Cleveland Browns fan, and hey, the Bengals. The Bengals were actually good at one time too. Remember, they actually went to the Super Bowl.
Gary Anderson.
Followed San Francisco because of Joe Montana coming out of Notre Dame. I followed everything. I just followed a bunch of them, and I was just so happy to get the Colts to have one team, my team.
I'm
You know.
I'm gonna piss Joe off here for just a second because when I was younger, I remember in middle school doing the icky shuffle.
Yeah, the Bengals. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they the second year.
and the Steelers weren't really
Super
anything
Bowl,
to write home about at that time.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then we finally get back there, and it's like, okay, O'Donnell, okay.
I remember all the
you made
Steelers,
Larry Brown
Dallas
the
Super
MVP in a
Bowls.
Super Bowl. Thank you very much. Okay, it was supposed to be
You know.
Neil O'Donnell wasn't a bad quarterback.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't think he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was
I wouldn't root for him.
He was a total idiot.
I thought Neil O'Donnell was better than Jeff George.
Oh, he was better than Mark Malone, I can tell you.
Oh, Jeff George. Oh, my God.
Hey, Art Schleister was better than freaking Jeff George.
Right.
My wife went to high school. My wife went to high school when Jeff George was a senior, and she knew his brother. And she said Jeff George was a total dick, a total 100% prick. And that's why he was never a leader and couldn't get anything done. And she knew it for a fact. Yeah. And my wife's a big Colts fan too. Also, she loves Denver Broncos. That's her thing. But, that's one reason we got married. We love football. But 34 years. But she told me, she went to Warren Central High School with him. And he was not a nice person. And that was never going to be a leader on a team.
I'll tell you who, a guy I did meet. I didn't go to high school with him or nothing, but James Harrison. I met him at Kent Bowl when he was going to Kent State. I was working as a pin setter mechanic up there at the time. You want to talk about, you see this mammoth of a man that everybody is terrified of. One of the most well-spoken, kind-hearted, well-thought-out people. That guy is just like on a completely different level. That dude, he's one that's like kind of the antithesis of what you're talking about. You think this guy would be, you think this dude would be the prick of pricks, but I mean, I would if he was a lawyer, I would hire the guy.
Usually, the bigger guys are the ones that. Like when I say bigger, I mean like the big dudes. They're usually a lot different than what you expect them to be. I mean, obviously on the field, he's got to be who he's got to be. But when you're, sorry, my alarm going off here. But generally, that term "gentle giant," that's a real thing.
That's him.
Yeah. Look at Q.
That's him.
Look at any of our players, really. That's what the Colts want. That's all the Colts want.
I don't know enough about
they want guys that know how to be kind, gentle people, but have some guts to lead and show people the way without ripping their, out of them, while also turning it on the field and being the bad man on the field. That's a talent. That's a real talent in the NFL.
Dick Butkus is I've met Dick Butkus twice.
I love Dick Butkus.
He is one of the nicest guys you would ever meet. If you didn't know him, you would have no idea that was Dick Butkus.
Well, you hear the stories about him on the field about like reaching in and biting fingers and all that neat stuff. I mean.
They were doing that all the time back in the
day.
I think he had two torn ACLs and was playing in the game trying to kill somebody. Well, that's what he did.
Look at the Rams Super Bowl with Jack Youngblood.
That's what he was paid.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look at the Raiders
Are you
back in
talking
the
about
old
Super
days.
Bowl 14?
They took
Or are you talking
15.
about-
They
yeah.
took 15-yard
You're
penalties
talking about Super
on
Bowl
purpose
14.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
to
remember that game.
intimidate you.
yeah.
I remember that game.
Oh yeah, the old Raiders were.
The old style Raiders. I love the old
The
Raiders.
Rams
I
were no
love them.
joke back
I mean, that's
then
where
either.
all. That's where
Oh
all,
yeah,
That's where all the Alzados went.
Deacon Jones, and the line of four.
Well, yeah, Deacon Jones, but the Rams were no joke back
They
then
were.
either. Youngblood, who the hell, Wendell Tyler, I think, was their running back then. Vince Ferragamo. They had a good team. I can't remember all of them, but the Youngbloods were some pretty nasty linebackers. I mean, Howie Long.
Yeah.
You look at the guy today, you wouldn't think he played nose tackle for the Raiders back in the day, but that guy was no joke.
No, he wasn't.
So
He
to
was a
see
terror.
him and Terry Bradshaw sitting across from each other, jaw jacking each other for the last God knows how many years,
yeah.
that's a cool thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the end of the
It
day,
is.
when you're off the field, it to kind of tie that whole point together. When you're off the field, it is different. But when you're on the field, get out of my way.
Yeah. That'd be kind of like watching a show with Dwight Freeney and Tom Brady on the same
Oh,
show.
my
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would. It would.
Yeah.
I think Mathis hates quarterbacks more than Freeney does.
But,
Honestly,
yeah,
because
maybe,
he
but-
says it out loud.
Yeah, he does. I mean, that's his Twitter handle, quarterback hater. You know?
Yeah,
There you go.
One of the biggest trash talkers in the NFL, I think, ever was John Randall. But I don't know much about how
He's crazy, dude.
Of that.
He
If
was a
he's like-
nutball.
Well,
That guy
I mean,
was like-
Randall had to take it to a different level. I mean, he was undrafted, wasn't he? Wasn't John
Yeah, I don't-
Randall
recall.
undrafted?
I don't know.
Had to come up.
remember.
I don't know.
He
was-
had,
I don't know.
he had to
I could
prove
barely
himself,
check
and
it out.
He was not somebody, especially back in those days. He was not that big.
yeah,
He was
Right.
He was only like 6'3".
yeah,
He
little
wasn't
dude.
really that heavy, but
Right.
when it was turned into defensive ends. He was the prototype for what we see as defensive ends now.
Yeah,
Really,
Yeah.
except for they're usually a little taller, but they're usually not. They're usually, 270. Man, back in the day, a defensive end was, he was pushing 300 pounds. Was a big guy.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah, but
you're right.
if you ever
You're right, he
watch
was
tape of
undrafted.
John Randall
Right.
on and off the field, even on the bench, I'm surprised they didn't chain him to the bench.
Right.
He was a nutball. He was crazy. He said crazy stuff all game long, but he was scary. He terrified people on the field.
Law Dog was right.
That's what
He
you
was
gotta
undrafted.
do.
He
He
was
was
undrafted.
undrafted, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, so how many times does that happen?
Never.
So I mean,
Once.
you get certain people that are just like they're just off, but they're really good at one thing.
Yeah,
There,
really,
just go.
really good.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, guys, I am starving, and I know we've
You're
only
dying.
been going for like an hour and a half, but
Only.
well, what the last time we did a Patreon stream, it went for
It was
over
like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Is there some rule that you can't eat in front of us or something
Yeah,
if you're
I
hungry and
don't-
your
I
food's
don't-
right there?
I don't like eating on
I don't think
camera.
there's a
Because I'll be straight with y'all. I don't have any top teeth, so
Yeah,
that's
oh.
why I'm behind this all the time when I'm talking. Right?
Oh, because people make comments about that.
Mm.
You don't have
Yeah.
any teeth. My teeth.
Well, we
are-
don't care if you don't have top teeth. You don't have to be behind
yeah,
that.
My teeth are in a jar up in the kitchen, and I don't. I have not worn my dentures.
Mine will be someday.
The last time I wore my dentures was to my mother's funeral 12 years ago.
I don't even have dentures.
Amen, brother.
I
See,
gum the crap out of everything. The only thing
Yeah.
I can't eat now are peanuts and kind of nuts.
Yeah, and I miss
That's probably
that.
good.
That's
I mean, that's
something
probably
I
good.
miss.
You know?
I love cashews, and I can't eat them.
Yeah, me too. Because I put the teeth in to even when and you can't taste anything,
Yeah,
especially that top palate because it covers the whole roof of your mouth.
yeah.
You can't you can but you can't taste stuff like you can without that big wad of plastic in your face. So, I had a truck wreck and knocked my teeth out, so I had to get dentures. Like I said, Mom's funeral, that was it. I was done. That was the last time I ever wore them.
Now, what happened with me? See, the reason why I do this now, and I'll again be straight with you guys, since this won't go on YouTube, or public.
We didn't think it did because I kind of like started
and
that.
Martin did too. With he's a dick.
I'm sorry.
Well, it was it might have had something.
That wasn't that bad. Come on.
No, but anyhow, so growing up, I had a gum disease where I didn't have my enamel didn't come all the way up inside my gums, right? So I had no enamel across the edge of my gums, and it just basically rotted all of my teeth by the time I was 30, right? So I haven't had teeth, and I ain't been able to afford to buy dentures. So I have never had dentures. So I just can't eat certain things, right? And I was sitting here and I was talking like this, just talking, on the show one time, and someone put a comment in there and said meth is not good for you. Because they this and thinking that I was a drug user. And I mean, first off, if you watch my stuff, you could tell I don't do any drugs.
No.
I'm too alert, and that type of situation, you know what I mean? I'm in my right mind. At least I think I am. Anyhow.
Oh no, you are. Because the way, no, you are. No, here's the thing: you put so much thought into your content before you even get out there, and then on top of that, you have the presence of mind to react while you're putting this all out there. I mean, I can't understand how anybody could even consider that, because there's all different kinds of reasons why somebody might have lost their teeth, man.
Yeah, well,
right.
That's why I hide behind this spit guard, basically. But
fuck that.
Yeah, I don't think you have to anymore.
But
don't be embarrassed.
One thing
we know, we're cool.
I know, but that's the one thing. That's the one thing about me that I don't like. Is that I have no top teeth, and I can't. And I'm on a camera all the time. That's the thing. You get what I'm saying? And my bottom teeth are getting pretty bad too. I'm gonna have them removed pretty soon. But being that I'm in front of a camera all the time and I deal with that, that's the one kind of vanity thing that I have. You get one, a little bit embarrassed, a little bit, and I'm starting to get trolls now on my channel. I've noticed that my last live stream, there was a guy on there that just kept trolling the heck out of me, and he just dropped a troll on my Believe in Colts upload that I did today, and dropped it in the comments, and I'm like, oh my, I'm gonna have to get myself a moderator. I'm gonna have to ask somebody.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you about this. Okay, we all fucking excuse me.
You're good.
We all fucking sat here and told you how good you are at this. Okay. I'm telling you, I am telling you right fucking now, if you're getting that bullshit, doing what you do, somebody feels threatened by you. Somebody feels fucking threatened by they're trying to get it under your goddamn skin to get you to feel to make you fucking doubt and to make you stop doing what you're doing, saying, oh, I can't do this. No, that's bullshit, because listen, we talked about this. You're real, okay?
Just the way you are.
Let me find out who the fuck that is. Let me find out who the fuck that is. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, but that's bullshit, okay? Because the other part of this is when you put yourself out there the way you put yourself out there, okay, and you are as real as you are. That's you're not hiding some type of fucking agenda. You're not trying to get people to all do and drink the Kool-Aid and all that stuff. You're just talking to people like you're sitting on the front porch.
Yeah.
And that's what most people can relate to.
Yeah.
And but you get these circles of people who want that kind of thing. Oh, we got to get everybody drinking the Kool-Aid. Let's get everybody drinking the Kool-Aid. No, You don't do
if
that.
you're not pissing somebody off, you're not doing it right. Because not everybody.
There you go, buddy.
That's right. That's right.
And the other thing about this is it's like,
and you
I'm
have
sorry,
these
buddy.
keyboard, warriors that they can throw crap out all the time, and there's no repercussion except for maybe the fact that you can block them from something.
Yeah.
Other than that, they're all out there. I deal with them all the time, and even in little other. Look, man. I got the
Billy Goat. I don't give a shit.
I go to
you know what I mean?
one of the Colts.
That's what I tell them.
I go to.
Yeah.
And man, there are people that they don't have anything nice to say about the Colts. It's like, well, why are you even here?
Right.
And you keep coming back, and I hate Vince, and I hate this, and I hate Frank, and I hate Chris, and well, good. Go find someplace else. Go find the Colts hater club and join it.
Okay, yeah, right.
Because we're here to support the Colts, and if
right,
everybody has an opinion. Unfortunately, like a-holes, but even people, you can have an argument. You can have an argument. It doesn't mean that I don't respect you or respect that person. Right. I don't agree with them. That's their opinion. Here's my opinion. But some people, they put stuff out there and they're just nasty about it.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to get people to hate each other. And that's bullshit.
Yeah. If, like I said, if you're not pissing somebody off, you're not doing it right.
Well, here's the other thing about this, bro. And this goes back to, Lawrence was worried about his presentation and all this kind of stuff. I want to tell you what, okay? If you go down and check the boxes and whatever, and you're concerned about that, I'll give you a little anecdote that I have from work, okay? Is that every day I walk in the door and there's this guy and he's got, what looks like some half-assed military wannabe tattoo on his, the back of his bicep. So, and that he probably paid for that on purpose. He's got jeans, he's got the golf shirt tucked in, he's got the pristine black boots that he polishes every day. He's he looks there. You can't find any flaw in his appearance whatsoever. Okay, not one. He's a supervisor. Cannot find one flaw in this man's appearance except for the fact that he's bald. He doesn't. Okay, well, we're not trying to get laid here, right? But he's perfect. Okay, he's perfect. Okay, but when it comes down to actually working, when it comes down to his judgment, and when it comes down to where he puts people, he looks at me because I walk in there with my boots unlaced. He probably looks at me like I'm some idiot from West Virginia who can't tie his own shoes. When I know more about his job than he does. Okay. But he wants to look at me like I'm some kind of, because I don't have a perfectly clean pair of jeans, a perfectly unscuffed pair of boots, a perfectly groomed whatever. Because guess what? That's not the guy that's getting his hands dirty. So I got more respect for a guy like you, Lawrence, and what you're doing than a guy like that. That's all I can say about it.
I can say I was bullied all through school until I stood up for myself in 8th grade. Not too bad in high school, but really, I've been bullied all my life. I'm a different kind of person. I'm not what everybody expects. I'm ADD. I sometimes come off as a know-it-all. Blah 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 blah. Somebody's always got an opinion about me. All my life, every job, no matter where I've been. And I finally realized, fuck them. I'm 58 years old. I'm too old for this shit. These people, they're whatever they're afraid of from me is their problem.
That's it. That's fucking
not
right
me,
there, Martin.
I've got my friends. I got my family. I know who loves me. I know who
won't look me in the eye either.
I know who I can trust, and that's all I need. Yeah. So don't let these people bully you for your looks or for anything about you.
See,
fuck them. They're afraid of you. They're afraid of you because they see your power. They see how strong you are. They see how smart you are.
With him. I agree with him.
And you don't need that microphone in front of your face because you don't have any front teeth. Don't worry about that. We will never judge you Real fans would never, ever, ever judge you because of teeth. And that's
the
just
other
the
part
truth.
of that is
we're not going to do
part
it.
of that is it sounds better when it's right where it is. So fuck them. Hey man,
Exactly.
I don't got to explain shit to you, man. I got my pop filter on because of the way I talk. Hey, fuck you.
And that's fine too. But I don't want you to feel like you have to cover something.
When you don't have,
I mean, I'm not perfect.
When you don't have those,
when
you don't have those top front teeth, then certain letters, kind of, your S's and stuff like that, it sounds a little different. And then when it picks up on the microphone, it's different. So you could tell I don't have it if you listen carefully. You know what I mean?
Who cares?
You know what, Martin?
Who cares?
It's funny when I was smiling and nodding my head when you were talking about I got ADD, I was made fun of in school and blah. That was me.
Still am.
That was me.
Still am.
I got picked on a lot in school, and it wasn't until after my first marriage when I realized, screw everybody else.
Yeah.
Screw everybody else. Worry about me. Do what I need to do.
Right.
And once I got that out of my, once I got that out and just started, just being me and not worrying about whether or not someone can accept me or not, then life became a lot easier, and things could slide off your shoulders so much easier.
It's about finding your own power and screw what everybody else wants to do to you,
right? And
or
then
say to you
along the way.
They don't matter. They don't matter. You got what you need.
Yeah, and then along the way, while you're
along the way, us guys, you pick up friends like us.
You pick up,
right?
you find people like us who are doing the same shit, and then you all start getting together. And like, hey, okay, that's where the best stuff comes from.
See, I've always considered myself easy to get along with because in school, and I'm pretty sure everywhere around the world, at least when I was growing up, there were different cliques in school, right? You had your preps, you had your hoods, you had your geeks, your nerds, all that. And I had friends from every single type of clique.
Yep.
Every single type. I didn't necessarily fit in with any individual one because I was a nerd, but I also played sports. You know what I mean? I was a D&D player and I played football. You couldn't get more opposite than that. You know what I mean?
I played the D&D and everything.
Yeah,
no, that takes you from here up to here. That means you're just on your mind's just on a different level. There's nothing.
I was always an outcast.
Yeah,
I was an outcast, and I lived with the outcast. I was the only one that was an outcast.
Because people don't fucking understand you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then the interesting thing about that is then you'll have a guy who just quit my job yesterday. Tommy, he's 68 years old. He's fucking saying, fuck it, whatever. And he didn't even graduate high school. He's just an old school, got a garden. He raises a couple, animals. He's not, anything. He goes out hunting every year. Simple guy, but one of the fucking wisest, smartest, common sense people that you could ever fucking meet. Like nothing fancy, might not be into all the brain stuff that we could do, but when he breaks things down, it's just very simple, and it works. Yeah. He's got common sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he might not understand
rare.
All the crap that I can understand, but the guy just gets it. He gets it. And you can talk on the same level because he's like, okay, however the hell he came to this conclusion to do things this way, it made fucking sense. I don't care.
Yeah.
It made sense. I can get along with this dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Common sense is not too common.
No,
it is not. It's not common anymore either. Courtesy.
Hillbilly.
Courtesy. I still say, hey, how you doing, so-and-so, even though I know they don't like me. For whatever reason they had in the past and they've held on to. Yeah. But I still say, hi, how you doing? Or when I'm a crew chief. Well, so I don't act like a sergeant and direct you to do it. I say, hey, I need this done. Will you take care of it for me, please? They go take care of it. When they're done, I say, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, please and
You
thank you
know,
goes a long way.
just the simplest things, the simplest
Mm-hmm.
courtesy things. And that's unfortunately I learned over the years that's part of why people don't like me, because they think I'm weak because I'm nice.
You're nice, right?
You know, hey, I've
You
had
gotta
my moments. I've dropped the hammer when I've needed to,
okay.
and I'm in there for
That's
19
it.
years.
That's
People
it.
know. People know if the hammer needs to be dropped, and I am not the one to do it immediately. But you go over the line, bam, I'm cutting you down.
Yeah,
But see,
people.
that's the
But
thing that
I'll give you
makes the
all the
best
chances,
leaders.
and I treat
Yeah.
you right. Why do you do that to me? I treat you right. Why would you do that to me?
Yeah.
You know,
He's
and
getting ready to house this shit. Watch it.
You've been warned.
that's the way it is.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
getting,
when I was doing the supervisory thing, and I'd bring people in the office and sit down, talk with them, and I'd talk
I've
to
done that.
I'm talking to you guys. Look, man, we need yada 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 yada. And if they
Mhm.
go out and 2-3 months later they screw up again and go back in the office, we'll sit down and talk about it. I had a crew of 35 on 2 shifts. That was fun. Uh, and I had one guy out of a bunch of them I ended up having to fire. And he was a nice guy, but he started to get an attitude. And you talk to him, you talk to him, you talk to him, you talk to him. So I called him in the office one day, and he just thought I was going to talk to him, and I fired him. The funny part came about 2 months later. We got bought out by a new company, and our production doubled
Oh wow.
overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
the former the boss man and the lady I worked with, who was she was the vice president up until they got bought out. They sat down. They wanted to hire this guy back because he was a good worker, but he had an attitude. And so they wanted me to come in and we could have this conference call with him and talk to him about coming back and all that kind of stuff. So they were doing all the nicey because they're trying to get him back. Okay. And I got up and I said, look, dude, you do this crap again, you do this crap again. Don't even bother coming back here because I'm not going to put up with it. And both of those two their eyes got about this big looking at me like, we need him. We got off the call and they got on me and I said, we don't need him that bad. I don't need a poison pill out here.
Yeah.
Because the man was turning into poison. That's why I fired him to start with. I don't need him in here because he's going to think that he can do anything he wants because you guys are begging him to come back.
Yeah.
You're not going to put
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I'm the
People.
one
If you are gonna
with him
if you
every
are
day.
gonna support my decision as the manager, then screw you, because
Yeah.
that's when I leave. Because if you don't support what I see,
Yeah.
how I do it, I fired and hired. I know exactly what you're saying
Yeah.
as a fixed operations manager,
I had to do
and
that too, man. It sucks.
you got to do what you got to do, and you give them every chance. You write them up, you call HR, you make sure you're doing it right. But if they ain't gonna come through, you got to fire them.
Get him out of
And
here.
sure enough, if one day the owner called and said, well, so and so's trying to come back on, what do you think about him? I said, dude, he can't even troubleshoot his way out of a wet paper bag with a butter knife. There's no way I could have him back. Plus, I fired him because he was unreliable. He couldn't make it to work on time.
Or then you end up in a situation where you have to fire somebody because somebody else told you. You have to find a reason to fire them, and that's when
I luckily have been in that position.
I was in that position at Smith and
That
Wesson
sucks.
actually, and I said,
That sucks.
go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Yep.
I ain't doing it.
That was an issue.
And then they started coming after
Just stand
me.
up for your
And they started
principles.
Here's
I've
go
lost too
fuck
many
yourself.
jobs. I've lost too many jobs for standing up for my principles.
I'll give you guys a little story about what you just said, Joe. So like I said, I was the maintenance manager for my Walmart, and we had a guy that worked under me that had been there a long time, right? He'd been there about 20 years, and he was in that attitude of, I've been here a while, I can do what I want, and say what I want, and I don't have to worry about anything. You know, my production can go way down. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Getting too comfortable. You get what I'm saying? And I went up to him and I explained it to him. I was like, look, management above me is saying we have to reach a specific level here, right, of production. We have to get this done for the certain amount of work hours, man hours that we have. And you're not pulling your weight. And when I say that, and he's like, well, it doesn't matter. I was like, it does, because what you're not doing, everybody else that's working beside you have to do more in order to reach that level. So you're just making it harder on your coworkers by you being the way you're being. And it's not fair to them, you know. He walks out of that meeting with me, right down the middle aisles of the store, cussing me out. Cussing me out. I didn't fire him. I didn't even write him up. I just sat down and talked to him about it. And I mean, he was dropping F-bombs left and right there on the sales floor, right? And the store manager.
That's a reason to fire him right there.
Well, hold on. The store manager walked by, and I was just like, go home. Go home, right? I don't need you right now. If you're going to, in your present sense of mind, go home, cool down, come back. We can talk about it once you think about it a little bit. And right. I was going to write him up when he came back, right, for doing that, because you can't have that. Right. And the store manager just walked in and says, no, don't go home. Come back here and turn your shit in. You know, and I was like, but he's like, no, I'm taking this out of your hands. You fire him or I am, you know? And I was like,
yeah, fuck that. Now, here's the thing. But check this out. Okay. I don't know if any of you know anything about guns or not. Okay. But I had a great job. Yeah. I had a great job. I was a manager at Smith & Wesson. And I'm sorry, wow. I'm not going to. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was. Okay. I was second shift.
That's okay.
Anyway. They started wanting to, and this, hopefully this does not go private, because then, you know, guess what? I'm going to have to drive up to Connecticut and do one of these myself. Okay. You want to fight? You want to run a smear campaign, motherfucker? Let's go, bitch.
I like Joe.
They were selling the dog shit out of these fucking 380 EZ shields, and they were trash. They were trash. And then their equipment kept breaking down. They had cooling fixtures for these fucking things. Okay. Where you take it out of the press, and I ran the gun cage there. So I worked with the ATF and all that fucking bullshit. Okay. You take the fucking thing out, you rig it with whatever, you wipe it down with some gun oil, you throw it on there, and you cool it for your cycle. And so the cycle of the press was out of sync with the cooling cycle of the fucking lowers, because it was just a fucking shit show. So what these operators started doing was taking these fucking things right out of the press and saying, fuck the goddamn thing, I'm not using it. Throwing it right on the fucking, like, and they would take these cardboard things and cut them up and put holes, and they would just like cool the fucking lower in the cage that was meant to house. They had a computer screen up here. Yeah. And so then quality manager starts coming back to me and hey, these lowers are out of droop by, like, you know,
yeah,
like way bad, really bad. I'm like, all right, what the fuck? You know, what do you want me to do here? Well, you say something. Okay. All right. So I everything that was done on that ship, I scanned everything in. I scan everything as because when you get those serial numbers, it's the chain of custody. As soon as those serial numbers are released from the ATF, you have to scan that shit. The chain of custody has to be tracked, from inception to somebody's purse, pretty much. So I put everything aside and I said, okay, come in the next day. These are all bad. Front office guy says, ship them. We need these. Gotta sell them. Okay. You want to talk to Debbie about this?
you want to go talk to the
You want to talk? You look at the quality. They were doing all kinds of fucked up shit, man. They were hiding their scrap. They were shipping those up there. So like, this is when I like was just like I had enough. Okay, they wrote me up for insubordination when I refused to fire an operator, and then after this happened, they just like started, fucking laying the hammer down. Because there was a change in the front office there. I'm not going to get into the business of Smith and Wesson and how that all fucking came about. But they wanted their own people in there, and all us old fucking jarheads got,
Yeah, I know how that is.
got shipped out. So, and but anyway, there was a massive recall on all those 380s. After they fired me, they had some kid fucking doing it. And all those fucking lowers that they shipped, they got recalled, and they tried to blame it on a recoil spring. And those fucking things, you would hit them on the side of like a counter or something like that, and they're in some old lady's purse. And that slide would just keep fucking, and it would empty the mag.
Wow.
Like, you want me to sign off on this shit?
Wow.
You want me to sign off on this shit? No. You're the one who fucking said it. I put this shit. No. This is on camera. Fuck you. I got a witness here. Fuck you. You want to ship them?
Wow.
You're fucking shipping them.
Wow.
How long ago? How long ago?
2020.
Wow. No way.
2020. Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Oh.
That's wow. And I thought one of my best friends telling me he works at a bakery here in town, and I thought this was bad, but it don't compare to that because but I mean it does in a way because it's dangerous as well. There's a bakery in town where they just put this bakery in 15 years ago, and they haven't cleaned, and like the cakes that they cook in, like the pans literally have mold.
Could kill somebody.
Yeah, it has mold in them, and they still continue using it. They don't clean it out. The ovens that they do, they have like mold on the edges and stuff like that. Rusted pans, things like that. Yeah, and it's bad, and they're just running it anyhow because they have to keep up with production, and don't have time to do a complete shutdown and clean is what they're saying, because they'll lose too much money, and I'm just
dude, I was working fucking 7 days a week during that whole fucking thing. I was the only one they had back there to run that goddamn shit, and I'm like, dude,
follow the money.
Fucking
follow the money. Follow the money.
So they were
it's always about money.
Scrap. I mean, FTC violations out the fucking ass, SEC violations out the fucking ass, ATF violations out the fucking ass. I'm like, I'm not putting my fucking name on this fucking shit no more.
Hell no.
Go fuck yourself. And here, eat it. Put it on somebody else's fucking name. There you go. Bye.
Wow.
I'm just going to let you know up front, since we're all right here, don't buy any pastries from a company of Cafe Valley. Okay? If you ever see a Cafe Valley, don't buy it. Ever. I don't know how widespread. I know it goes pretty far. I don't know if it reaches down to like Louisiana or anything, but I know it's pretty far in like the surrounding states of Indiana. I know they go pretty far in that general vicinity, but yeah, they don't ever buy anything from Cafe Valley.
I work in the aviation industry. If you think things don't happen there, they do.
No,
people can die. People can fucking die.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say much because I can't get in trouble.
Yeah,
because they monitor everything.
I'm fucking gone from that.
But let's just say enough accidents happened that they had to redo the training and a whole bunch of other stuff. We have hugely improved the safety of what's going on. But it wasn't just us. I mean, I can tell you about some other places too, that, we're doing things badly, and we're even supported by an FAA inspector. Of course, He's in jail now.
Whoa!
There are. Oh yeah. That wasn't our company. That was another company. But what they did to our airplanes that we had sold them and then bought back was fucked up.
That's big shit. No, that's big. That's big.
That's how it happened. That's how it came about. We bought them back. It's like 10 airplanes we sold, and we brought them back, and they were so fucked up. You know, and so they went to a huge heavy checks and everything they had to find that stuff and then fix that stuff, and then it came down on that other airline, and
the same thing happened to Remington.
But I'll tell you right now,
fucking thing.
We are
Weston was like,
where I work.
Pocket that money in case they got hit with a lawsuit.
Where I work and the company I work for, we are extremely careful. We take our time, we do it right, and that's what has to be done. And where I work in particular has a great reputation for fixing problems and getting them done on time, or getting them done in a manner that is efficient,
right.
So that planes can get back in the air. But I can't say really anymore where.
Don't worry about that. Hey, I got a motto.
Don't worry about that.
You know what I'm saying?
Because this will not go public. All right.
I got a motto.
Okay.
So, I got a motto.
But still, I can't, you know.
I get you. I understand.
Do it right or do it twice.
Yeah.
Do it right the first time.
Yeah, if you do it right
the first time.
Yeah, exactly. That's something my dad taught me. You know, growing up, that's something that parents are supposed to teach. And you don't get that taught by parents these days. There's a lot of stuff that don't get taught by parents these days. You know, do it right the first time so you don't have to redo it later. You know,
right?
Exactly. I worked at Saturn. I can say that. And I'll tell you what. When I worked at Saturn, we followed that mantra because we had to exceed customers' expectations. Try to do that. Yeah. When they first told me that, I was like, "You're nuts." But then I learned, and it can be done. Yeah, and it's all about the details, and it's all about being honest, and it's all about doing it the right way the first time. If you're changing a window regulator in the door, you clean the window and the door panel, and you don't leave grease in the car. Yeah, you know, it's all the little things
you don't create the same
that make the job exactly right. Yeah. Now, this is what football. I'm going to go to football because this is what they're trying to do in football, right? They gotta have it. They gotta do it right the first time. Every play is the first time. And in order to get the job done, in order to make that play work right, every single person, all 11 players on either side of the ball, have to do it right the first time. And we watch these games over and over. And there's a lot of times when they get it right, and a whole lot of times when they don't get it right, and a whole lot of times where the play called on one side doesn't match the play called on the other side, or a play called on either side is better than the one on the other side. Yeah. But discipline and execution is the absolute most important thing in football. Yep. And it has to happen on every play, every single play. Think about it. Mm-hmm. Wow. How many times do you have to repeat to get it right? It's just like learning kung fu. You have to train your brain to do it right every time. Yeah. You can't be a black belt until your brain is trained. It's the same thing in football. Yeah. So that's what the coaches are trying to do. That's what the players are trying to do. They know it will work. They know if they do it right, it will work. And they just have to make it happen on every play.
At the same time, you get players.
The teams that make it happen on every play. Look at New England for all these years. Bill Belichick, God, he's a genius. I'm sorry. He's a freaking genius. Right. Yeah. He's a freaking genius.
But here's what I'm saying.
He makes his players execute. His players execute. Yep. Remember
Right.
if you go back to 2006 in our AFC Championship game, his players were executing. We weren't. And then we had to figure out a whole nother game plan in the second half to go to different receivers and all kinds of other things to overcome the execution of the New England defense because they had us. They had us by the throat.
Yeah.
Well,
Right?
at least you beat them, but
And
at the same time,
we did beat them. But that's the point. Look at that game. Look at the flop. Look at the first half. Look at the second half.
Well,
Look
and then
how
Hester
it
ran
happened.
back on you because
Look-
made McAfee kick to him and whatever. So okay,
Well, McAfee
anyway.
wasn't in that game. But what I'm saying is,
Go ahead.
what I'm trying to relate this back to football.
No, that was before he got drafted. I know. I was just.
You were, Joe, you were
Yeah,
talking
I
about
know,
a
I know.
bad
No,
execution
West Virginia
of
boy, I
production.
know that motherfucker. Just forget about it.
I'm just saying, it's all about. It's about manufacturing. It's about discipline.
Yeah.
It's about execution. We don't have execution right
Okay,
yet.
but at the same time, then you got to be able to understand, like, how you have certain people who need to be drilled like that. Just do this, do it 100 times, do it 1,000,000 times, do it a billion times. I don't care. Do this, and you give them like 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is when you do this, and then you get players that understand like the whole playbook, and you have to handle those situations differently.
Yeah.
You get somebody in there that just like, okay, I understand. You get people who understand how to be a machine or how to operate a machine, how to work a machine when they're taught correctly how to do it. Then you get people who understand why the machine works the way it does.
Yeah.
And
It's
to
different.
To your point, Joe, that's the difference.
Exactly.
That's the difference between what Anthony Walker was for the Colts, who understood how the process worked and understood, like you're saying, how to work the entire machine and understood the blue book on it and everything, the manufacturers and everything, knew all of it. And then you got the Quiddy Pay, who, at the beginning of training camp, they were like, hey, look, just work on this same thing, whether you get beat or not, over and over and over each and every day. That way you can get better at what you need to get better at. So yeah, I get what you're saying, Joe and Martin, both of you.
It's the difference between driving fast on the street because you got a hot rod and a race car driver driving an IMS at 250 miles an hour. It is.
Yeah.
It's a skill. It's a learned skill. Your brain has to go faster than the play. And it will happen for a lot of our players. And I believe, I knew we were going to 0-2, but I believe that as we go along,
we'll get better.
Our players are going to meld.
Yeah.
Because of their personality, because of their desire, because of their heart. I believe they're going to meld together and they're going to find a way. And then once they find a way, once they make a win and however hard it was, they're going to go, okay, now we're getting it. Let's move to the next one.
The only thing I'm going to say about this game coming up is that Darius Leonard better earn his paycheck. He better earn his paycheck.
He's still dealing with that ankle injury, and he's not even on the injury report.
Okay, well, who else is going to do it? Who else is going to go?
I know.
Who else is going to call and figure out what Henry?
Yeah.
That's what Okereke and Zaire Franklin's supposed to do. They're supposed to make up for the difference. They know that. They're on the ground. They're in the game. They know they have to make up the difference, and they're going to keep trying, and they're going to get better at it.
That's got to figure that out with that. Because Henry just gashed them last week. That was ridiculous. How long are they going to ride that dude?
Until the wheels fall off. I mean,
they can't.
Right.
Just like they did Earl Campbell. They rode him until he just couldn't do it anymore. The man can barely walk.
Right. Earl Campbell. Yeah. They just blew him out.
They rode that horse until there's just nothing left of him.
Yep, that's right.
Who was that?
But we also have JT. We also have JT, and he needs to get going. And he knows it. He knows it. I know in his head he's going,
No,
I
that's your
haven't
offensive
done
line, brother.
what
That's
I
your
need to
offensive
do.
line. Okay.
And in this next game, I'm going to start killing some cornerbacks and some safeties. I'm going to knock the crap
If
out
anybody
of
can
them,
hold the
and I'm going to
edge.
go and
Yeah.
I'm going to get those yards.
Look at
You know,
JT.
and come on, he's a football player. He's a football player. He's the
come on
nicest
now.
guy in the world on the mic.
But look
But
at
you've seen him on the field.
Yeah,
You've
but
seen
they
him
gotta
on
be
the
able to
field.
hold
When
the
he
edge.
gets
They gotta be
angry,
able to hold
when
interior
JT
blocks.
gets angry,
All right.
he's gonna
All right.
mow them down.
But
This
they're
could
getting
be
blown off
a
the
running
ball.
back.
How you gonna
This
do
could
that?
be a running back war. This next game could be a running back war.
If
And
our
I hope it
offensive
is.
line, if our
I
offensive
really
line
hope it
holds
is.
up, like
That
Joe's
would be
saying,
exciting. That would go back to the old days. I would love it. A
right.
running back war.
All right, guys. I'm gonna put a final thought in here, and then I'm gonna have to cut it because, like I said, I'm still really, really hungry, and it's been 2 hours.
Starving.
Yeah, right.
And now we're getting. Yeah.
But
Starving, man.
just real quick for the upcoming game, I get what Martin's saying, but at the same time, these guys were hurt during preseason and training camp. That's the whole situation that I'm looking at as, they just need time out there on the field together to get better and understand each other, especially in the offensive line.
Offensive
All right?
line.
The offensive line, that's everything. But
they're
so I think the Colts will get better as the season progresses. I don't think it's going to be magical from one week to the other. I think you'll see a slow progression of how well it happens. Hopefully it happens sooner rather than later, because if it don't happen within the next couple weeks, I think that our season might end up being, hurting pretty bad. But at the same time, Colts fan, I really appreciate you being on here. And
Yeah, man. Same here. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's nice.
Hey, man, love to have somebody else here. Yes.
Exactly. I'm surprised. We ain't seen Ross in a few days. I don't know what's going on with him.
Oh shit!
But he's also another guy that I enjoy having on here. He's
probably out somewhere being a douchebag.
But it was pleasant having you on here, man.
Too.
Thanks a lot. You're always welcome to jump on here whenever I do these. I'll probably do another live stream reaction for the Titans game, since that's one thing that. Now, granted, it won't be where everyone can join me, but you can watch. Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably okay. I thought about joining you, but I was at work, and then I have insignias and stuff in my office, and I can't.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I didn't want to get in trouble for being on a live stream on the internet at work.
Hey, okay. On that
I didn't have anything to do. We're there if needed, right?
Okay.
I wasn't needed, but you gotta watch the companies are so hard on you about what do you put out in the internet, right?
Okay.
I wanted to join, I couldn't. I'm sorry.
On that note, do you realize, okay, if you work a 5-day work week, 40 hours a week, okay, all the year, okay, if you take a 10
hours.
If you take a 10-minute shit every single day,
yeah,
okay, every day for a year, that is a week's pay. Yeah.
10 minutes? Shit.
literally.
There's a lot of variables we can go into.
I'm coming out of there. People looking for me. Hey, where you been? Hey, I was watching YouTube. I'm sorry.
It depends upon the book I took with me.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Sometimes I'll stay there till my legs get numb, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get up now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
Oh
guys,
my God!
I gotta kill this.
All right, Lawrence.
But
Vince.
I appreciate y'all being here. It was a lot of fun. We didn't get a whole lot of Colts talk or anything like that, but a lot of fun talk, right?
I tried.
Enjoyed the shit out of this. I know you did. It's all good. We got some talk in there, but this is what Patreon's about, right? We hang out and talk and talk what we want to. But, guys, I'm gonna kill it. So I appreciate each one of you, and good luck.
Thanks for putting up with us. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Man, I
Get the fuck
back
out.
and laugh too, just like you guys do. All right, y'all. I'm gonna kill it. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Go Colts.
Hey, Colts fan and Joe, love to see you guys once.
Right, man.
I love you, man. I love you, man. I'm gonna say, try to. Maybe you should take that microphone away and don't. I don't care if you don't have teeth. That doesn't